Okay, so first off, I would like to personally thank Sebastian, which would be CausesSideEffects. There will be a link in the description for you to go check out his videos. He's an amazing talent, and all of y'all should definitely check him out. So this was a video response, and I'll get right into the questions. So I hope you enjoy.
Question number 1. Do you remember the reason why you started writing poems in the first place? You know, what made you interested in all this stuff? Do you have any certain memories from your childhood that maybe clarifies why you're so interested in writing poems right now? No, also part of this question, do you remember your first poem that you ever wrote? Do you still have it somewhere, and could you read it to us? And how old were you when you wrote your first poem?
The reason why I ever got into poetry in the first place was that when I was younger, I realized that I was different, and I was very antisocial, and I didn't really speak my mind to people. Paper always seemed to be there for me, and I could always write my thoughts on paper. One of the first authors that I got into was Sylvia Plath, and when you take a child that's not mentally stable in the first place and get him into reading Sylvia Plath, it just kind of really turns some wheels that probably shouldn't be turning in a young child. Unfortunately, no, I do not have my first poem, nor my first probably 85 some odd poems that was stolen from me when I was younger. I'd give anything in the world to try and get those back, because that's some memories right there. Trying to figure out how old I was when I wrote my first poem, that's something hard for me to remember. I would be able to remember it better if I actually still had my poetry, but I don't. I don't know what else to say to that.
Question number 2. Have you ever thought about publishing a book? You know, after all these people like Cody Gebber and Amazing Atheist and stuff, putting out books one after another, I think you could pull it off because your writing is so fucking awesome. And I think a lot of people and a lot of your subscribers agree with me, you know. So have you ever considered that, publishing a book?
Yes, I have. I've been in the works of actually trying to write a book. I'll try my best to read you a small excerpt. I'm a man of many talents. I never take enough time to perfect one specific art. I wish to get a taste of it all. I want to achieve so much that I will ultimately defeat myself out of a career. Each art is like a well-aged glass of wine. I took a sip out of each and went back for seconds, ending up punch-drunk in love with art. It all started with doodles in the 3rd grade. My drawing got better with time. When I was in the 4th, I had an art bench in my grandmother's garage. I remember drawing animated characters, sea life, etc. I became rather good until one day my grandmother decided to open a mouthful of ignorance and let a demeaning statement spew from her lips. "We know you're tracing." And at that moment, I felt as though venom jolted through my veins. She said, "It's okay. We won't tell anyone. It'll be our little secret." It's that day that I started to see the world for how it really was. Gray. But before I let the surreal sink in, I let the red show through. We pull up in the driveway, and imagine a 10-year-old child with a crushed spirit gets out of the car and walks to his art bench and begins to rip the drawings down off the wall, yelling, screaming, ripping them to shreds. Because that day, I realized the world was always going to knock you down. It's a big pill to swallow for a child, and I choked on it for years. I've been working on writing a book for a long time. Whether or not I will ever finish one is beyond me. I've actually started 2. I wanted to create something that was part autobiography, part poetry, part philosophy, whatever else I could think of. I also came up with a short story of a child that became friends with a cockroach. The child's name was Sid. I never seemed to be able to finish any of them.
Question number 3. Give us a little look inside your favorite music, except the obvious ones. I want to hear something that we wouldn't expect from you.
I thoroughly enjoy Ludwig van Beethoven. Very, very old school. I had a newfound love for his work after watching the movie Clockwork Orange. And any of you that's out there that's seen that movie, you will understand. One band that might be obvious, I am completely in love with Otep. Otep started off as a poet. ultimately becoming a activist, rock star, whatever great placement you want to put her in. She is amazing, and her band is always amazing. I love her because she has similar writing styles to me, such as her way of spelling things, because I think, just like me, I think that she hates the English language and how it is all set up, all messed up, and she spells things like me because we don't like going by the rules. Not because we're stupid, but because it's just not the way it should be.
Question number 4. You once told you had to move out of your house because a roommate moved out and there were problems with paying the rent. I just want to know how this whole story developed and how you're doing now with paying the rent, and if you still live in that house or if you're already moved out somewhere else. Please tell us this.
Yes, I have since then moved. The rent situation is much better now. I meant to make a video specifically on the whole moving process and everything, but I didn't feel as though it was entirely important enough for my viewers to take the time to watch. My renting situation seems to be much better now. Better financial for my position.
Question number 5. If you could fight anyone out here on YouTube in a legal fist fight, who would it be and why would you fight this person?
Well, I would say most people. And I'm not most people, but most people would take full advantage of that by any means. Me personally, my moralistic views would not allow me to, because there's lots of times where I feel like beating someone's ass. Usually ends up I don't, not because I'm a pussy, but because as I'm mentally growing, I'm seeing that the world is the way it is, and everyone's going to do and say the things that they want to do and say, and they have the right to do so. I will let bygones be bygones, and I won't take advantage of that.
Question number 6. Do you have any specific plans or goals for the year of 2009, and if what are they?
Specific plans or goals for 2009, I would say one would be definitely to acquire a job of some sort. 2, I will be receiving all the parts that I will be needing for me and my very talented roommate to build myself a new computer. I will be able to be making better quality films. It will help me in my YouTube-ness and get further along the line that I want to be. I would say the 3rd thing is just to all around be more creative in all aspects.
Question number 7. What do you think are the greatest achievements in human history, and what do you think are the worst achievements in human history?
The greatest achievement, I would say, would have to be the internet. That sounds very nerdy of me, but if you really think about it, what better way is there for information to travel? You know, you can be friends with someone across an entire ocean, and they have something that they want you to see, listen to, read, do, whatever. And they're like, well, I'm going to send it to you. And they send it to you, and it gets sent through, it gets sent up to a satellite. You know, or a person gets sent through various phone wires to a satellite, up to another satellite in space, down to another satellite on the ground, through more various phone wires, and you're there listening, watching, etc. to the information at hand at almost an instant speed. And I think that is amazing. I would say that worst achievement of humankind would have to be the atomic bomb. It's funny that we have, our human hands have so much power to destroy and create, but people tend to use the destroying aspect to so much more of an extent. The atomic bomb would be the worst creation ever.
Question number 8. Do you play video games, and if so, what kind of video games, what specific games you play? Please tell us this.
When it comes to video games, I don't really play a lot. The only gaming system that I have is the old school Nintendo NES. I used to play a little bit of God of War and Enter the Matrix, but in the past few years I have shied away from video games and tried to be more creative and do other things to pass my time. That's about it. I'd like to thank you, Sebastian, of CausesSideEffects, and we will continue our dialogue in other forms. But as for the viewers, please go subscribe to CausesSideEffects. He's amazing, and he will make your brain explode from pure awesomeness. Just pieces of bloody goo all over your room. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.